Welcome to the Coach V Show. It is Mana Motivation Monday, and we are here with Auntie Franny at the Pacific Island Ethnic Art Museum in Strong Beach, Long Beach, California. Well, welcome to the Coach V Show. The Coach V Show is your radio show for personal and professional development with expert insights and interviews to help you, me, and we become the best we can be. Where iron sharpens iron, together we rise on Island Block Radio, the pulse of the Pacific, where paradise lives. I am your host, Coach V. And the Coach V Show focuses on bringing you powerful and transformational content, knowledge, and proven tactics to help you, me, and we improve on our self-confidence, develop our potential and talent, increase our value and business opportunities, and the realization of our dreams and aspirations. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I'm talking to a rising star. A rising star is a person that is growing quickly in popularity, importance, and support in a particular field. In studio tonight is the Island Block Radio's this week's Coach V's show's rising star executive chef, Mr. Mike Ford. Mike attended the Cooking and Hospitality Institute of Chicago and Le Cordon Bleu and received an associate's. While in culinary school, he worked for the Darden Corporation as a baker and prep cook. He has cooked at the Hotel Star Plaza Theater as a demo chef, developing flair and creative ways to entice the guest palates with different flavor stages. Working consistently on a busy celebrity show nights built his amazing confidence. He's cooked at the Trump Majestic Casino. He's cooked at the Coco Taylor's Blues Queen of Chicago, executive chef of her restaurants in Buffington Harbor. He's cooked at the kitchen at Hard Rock Hotel as a sous chef, coming from an executive chef background just to work with the Jeffrey Chowdreau. In kitchen and was a chef at Zed 451, where he learned the romance of culinary arts. In the kitchen and chef with 28 restaurants in Texas, California, Kansas, and Oklahoma. And in kitchen and cook for with the Real Mex restaurants. So that's the Chevy's, as well as, what are some of the other ones, Mike?
So they have the Chevy's, they have the Acapulco, they have Las Brisas located in Laguna Beach, and I'm missing a couple here. But yes, those are the main hubs, the main restaurants that are the star players in the Real Mex Restaurants organization, the portfolio.
And currently, your plate mate is his current big project in which he brings the restaurant experience into a home environment, a personal experience catering to clients' needs while connecting on an emotional level, creating memories. Also, Mike Ford is one of the most sought after personal chefs in Southern California. Mike Ford.
Well, thank you.
Welcome to our studio right here in the Pacific Island Ethnic Art Museum. Welcome
What's going on? What's going on? I feel welcome. Thank you.
How you living, Mike? How you living?
Man, living large, my friend. Living large.
So as an executive chef, which I was connected, shout out to Kaleni Suliafu.
Yeah.
Shout out to my boy. He would always talk about you to me about this. Man, I know this executive chef. Have you always had this wonder and passion for food?
Well, it started off at a very, very, very young age, if I can just backtrack a little bit.
Absolutely.
Started off in the kitchen with my mom. Mom, if you're listening, cover your ears.
Shout out to moms.
Shout out to moms. Moms, she had a great cuisine. She had some great dishes that she would make. But the thing is, I would go over to friends' house. We would go to restaurants, and I would experience other cuisines and different types of dishes. And it just didn't add up to Mom's dish.
That's right. That's right.
So that really, really intrigued me and enticed me to go after the culinary in the culinary world and to learn how to manipulate and add on to the dishes that she already had to make them great.
I like that.
Yes.
So was it also born from a geographic area? Like, where are you from? Where were you born? And like, what's your history?
So I was born in East Chicago.
Chi-town?
East Chicago is located close to Indiana.
Okay.
It is in Indiana.
Okay.
So later on, I did move out to Chicago, but started off in Gary, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
So the resources out there weren't the best. Like, you're not going to go and find an avocado tree like I would out here in California.
Right.
So
Well, you don't find that a lot of places,
yeah,
right?
well, or a lime tree or things like
that's right.
that.
That's right.
So just kind of just backtracking once again, we would definitely eat canned vegetables, and I really wasn't exposed to real vegetables until my high school year. So through going through a Dave Thomas program, so it's kind of like a work study, half school, half work, to propel me and to push me into the industry, kind of set the platform for me. So after that, I have a thing over here saying ZEV 451 where I learned the romance. Actually, it should be I regained the romance back, because when I first started in the industry, I was very, very excited. You couldn't stop me. I was cooking everything, like from breakfast to lunch to dinner at every friend's house. And then along the way, I kind of like lost my romance for it. Going into the industry, it's just kind of like a militant kind of, I know you've seen Iron Chef with Ramsay Gordon.
Yeah.
So that kind of was the culture back then in the 90s.
My way or the highway.
It was my way or the highway. I'll tell you a couple stories. I've got a couple saute pans thrown at me.
What?
Some hot dish plates pushed back in the windows. I mean, so that stuff is real, but nowadays, like, it really should not exist. It does exist in some forms and fashions, but that was one of the reasons why I said, hey, I can't do this. Like, this is, I have to find another way to, make money. But I love food so much that I just stuck with it and, put my head down and buckled through it.
That's right. So you got some formal training in education, cooking, and then at the Hospitality Institute of Chicago, and then Le Cordon Bleu, and received an associate's. Talk about how, so you reinvigorated this passion, right, and this love and this craving for learning to make tasty, amazing food. Right?
Well,
That's
yes,
big time.
That is huge. I mean, the food that I grew up on, it was basic. It was just plain. It was straightforward. It is what it is. It wasn't like
right.
like what I create nowadays. It's like levels: a high, medium, a mid, and a low. It was just kind of like beans and rice, and that's all you had, I remember looking back in our spice cabinet, we had garlic powder, salt, pepper, and a couple of, I think it was Lori's seasoning. Shout out to Lori's.
Yeah.
So now I've been exposed to, we have like curry, we have like saffron, like things of that nature, like that will elevate a dish to the next level, and it crosses over culturally and throughout different cuisines to create an excellent dish. So,
yep. So there's an adage, right, that the devil is in the details.
The devil in the details, absolutely.
I don't like talking about the devil. I don't roll like that, right?
Not at all.
But I know this
Not
about
at all.
details, right? I think that success and amazingness is in the details in life, leadership, and business, and especially as we're talking about the Coach V Show today, cooking. Talk about that as you talk about the details, the temperature, the timing, all of that.
Well, that all has a large part to play with it, but it all starts with having an outline and a guide. One thing I did learn in the industry throughout working in the Radisson and the Star Plaza Theater was to plan ahead. The 6 P's, proper planning prevents, I'm not going to use the next one, but it prevents piss poor performance.
Right.
So that's one thing that I did take away from one of my chefs. His name is, shout out to Chef John, that really, really helped me understand that, you got to have all of your items in place. Mise en place. Like, that's a French term for all items in place.
Say that one more time.
Mise en place.
Mise en place.
Mise en place. So that was one of the biggest lessons that I took away, and that was a detail that you cannot walk away from. It's one of those things that you can't go around. So you have to start there. It all starts also before you get to the kitchen, just like anything in life, you have to have your mind set on what your goal is and what you're going to do. Then you get there and then you start your prep, and that also leads to having a successful night.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
So as I coach professional speakers come to me and they ask me, what are the key ingredients to being a successful speaker? Is it your content? Is it because you're passionate? Delivery? And you're talking about the number one reason why I feel every professional speaker is at its highest game is because of preparation.
Thank you.
Right?
Yes.
So when you talk about that, in this last minute here, we got about 1 minute left in this segment. Talk about, it's critical how preparing, having a plan, what the strategy is before you even think about ingredients and execution, right? Talk about that. Preparation.
Well, yeah, it all starts upstairs, just like any great idea. And then it comes down to if you can deliver that via verbally or writing it down on paper or sending an email. And from there, the vision is born. And then that's where I came into play. I think that was one of my specialties. Like once the vision was cast, then I was able to actually execute it on a high level.
That's right.
So I think that's what it's all about. Like once the vision is cast, executing it on a high level. So that's also very, very important to, being in the kitchen and executing things in a timely manner.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Second week in a row, a rising star is a person that is growing quickly in popularity and importance and support in a particular field. Mike Ford, you are the Island Block Radio's Coach V's rising star. And people that don't know, like the notorious B.I.G. said, if you don't know, now you know. Keep it locked. We'll be back after this brief music break. Shout out to Your Plate Mate for sponsoring the amazing food and beverages for the crew of the show tonight. And our guest, I appreciate you, my brother, Executive Chef
welcome.
Mike Ford, for the love. You're listening to the Coach V Show. Thank you so much for tuning in on Island Block Radio, the Pulse of the Pacific, where paradise lives. We are here shooting at the Pacific Island Ethnic Art Museum. Auntie Franny, again, thank you so much for the hospitality. So we are talking to Executive Chef, Mr. Mike Ford, private chef for those that really want the tasty and good food brought to you with high quality at a price point that you, me, and we, none of us, can beat. So most of us, right, start to become like our parents or somebody that we saw. You talked about your mom. Is anybody else like a master chef in your family? Or are you the only one? Talk about that.
Well, I wouldn't say master chef because that's a term that I use very, very loosely. I would say the story probably began with my father. He cooked for the church. And so the pastor of that church just happened to work in kitchens in Chicago. So he took my father under his wing, and that's what happened. So my father, every Saturday, would go up to the church, make the meal for Sunday, prep it out, kit it out, and then on Sunday we would execute it from the prep. So after a certain age, I would stay outside and I would play basketball. But growing up in Indiana and Illinois,
in the winter,
it's the 4 seasons. So
right. Guess
what? When wintertime comes, you go inside. So as soon as I went inside, of course, I had to peel some potatoes. I had to, what else? Peel some carrots, do the grunt work. And then from there, it just grew. I think I was 13 years old when I actually took over the program in which I was preparing. 13 years old?
For cooking for the church?
Correct, in which I was preparing the meals. I was preparing the meals with one of my buddies, and we were actually serving the meals, and we would clean up. And then after that, we would return to church as well. So that's kind of like how it all started for me. But prior to that, at 12 years old, I took interest in the culinary world. So I started working at a family friend's restaurant where I was a short order cook. And that would just entail like the scoop and serve kind of dish. And it was a soul food restaurant, F&A, Fanny and Annie's soul food restaurant.
Yeah.
So scoop and serve, learn how to batter some chicken, just the basics. And I've also learned time management, which is very, very key critical. Earlier in the segment, we were speaking about what are the important things that you need to actually have and take as an executive chef. And time management is definitely the first and key critical thing, because think of it this way. If you go into a restaurant and you're sitting more than 20 minutes, how are you going to feel?
That's right. Hungry.
Hungry, absolutely.
Hangry. Most Polynesians get hangry. Yeah.
I think that's across the board for sure, hangry. I would definitely get hangry. I would probably say something. So time management, having your mise en place, that's a word again, the French term for everything being in place. Making sure that you are ready to go when the time is. The ticket comes up. And being a chef, it's pretty insane, man. You live your life by a piece of paper that comes out of a printer. Name another industry that happens.
I love that.
Right off key, yeah. So, I mean, it's this certain sound, and I even hear it in my sleep, and I wake up just, there it is. And
gotta go cook something.
It's yes. Order fire, 3 ribs, order fire, and it's just like, that's how you live your life. But just going back, time management is very, very important.
Yep. So we're going over your story, your history. After getting your associates, right? I mean, you have been all over the place, or as the kids say these days, right? Everywhere. They don't even say the every. They just everywhere, right? So you've been everywhere in all kind of industries. You've been in Chex-Mex, and I love going to Chevy's, especially when you and my boy were working there. I could eat there for free, right? Yeah. I really love Chevy's back then.
It was the best then. I'm just
But why move around so much? Why not just grow roots somewhere and stay? Why not?
Well, from my experience, when I left the job, it was for personal growth. It was at a point, and most of my experience, where I would work a job and I would reach the top, and or being in the culinary world, it's pretty sad. It's like you either have to wait till a person quit or you have to wait till they die. So for me, I think I reached the ceiling in which I knew that my growth was tapped out, and I needed to move on. And every place that I've ever worked, Coach, I can literally pick up the phone and say, hey, I need a job, and I can go back. Because I left on good terms, and I left in such a way that they knew that I was going for personal growth. And I think they seen the rising star in me.
That's right. Well, I've seen it since I first heard about you. We met. I mean, you drove all across in traffic to meet me in a Starbucks in Ontario, California, because somebody told you that you need to meet this dude, and we've been connected ever since, right?
Right away, man. I feel like all of our interactions is, hey, we need you. I'm right there. Boom, I'll show up.
Yeah. And just so for all the listeners out there, we are currently heavily negotiating, and it's getting pretty intense, about having the executive chef of Southern California be the main provider of refreshments and delicious food on the Coach V show. So we're hashing that out right now.
Well, look. Where's the contract? Let's sign it now.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We're gonna draft. Let me talk to the Island Block staff to see if we can get something drafted up real quick. My boss Q. I gotta talk to my boss Q first. Get it all signed and approved.
Wait a minute. This just in. He agreed.
That's what I'm talking about. Just like that. Hey, but you're talking some real talk now, though. Because I am on good terms with pretty much a lot of different people.
Yes.
That they don't know that I'm really not in good terms with them.
Oh.
Because of the fact that it's not their business to know what I feel is personal about them. The only thing that matters is the kitchen or the cause or the focus. It's not about me and what I personally feel about you, right? But if you've done me wrong, I'm going to remember that. But nobody really knows that. So I have this saying, right? There's money in the transaction, but the wealth is in the relationships.
Ooh, wow.
Right? So in terms of, I get that transactions matter. You said it. I mean, a ticket comes spitting out. Somebody's paying some money. So you got to provide a service. And you keep saying this word, execute.
Yes.
And if we don't execute, we're going to lose out.
You will. Right?
So now you have executed and built such a great reputation in the places that you've been. But yet you still choose to roll.
Yeah.
and go after. Now you're like a personal chef out here in Southern California. I mean, we're a long ways from your home.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Far.
And then you've been all over the place, and then working for corporate companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you're doing your own thing. Talk to us about just the audacity and the courage to do something like that.
It's so funny when I would get dressed and go to work. You know, it's those times where you're working jobs and it's a job, but the passion in my heart is still there. Mm-hmm. But you just know and you feel that this is not the place that I'm going to end up, or this is not the end all know all. So at that point, I would just grind and grind and grind. But thinking back now on my experience and where I am right now, all of those things were just shaping and molding me. Like it literally just transformed me. I've never known why I would have to dice almost 200 pounds of onions.
Right.
But now in my recipes now, like I think I have a couple videos up on my Instagram, Your Plate Mate. I mean, I'm killing these onions. Like, and that's just a small example of repetitious things that you do in the kitchen just over and over and over and over again. Like all of those experiences built me and made me into the man that I am today. And just thinking about writing 1,000 recipes and going back and rereading them and proofreading them, all of that's going to help me with my cookbook that I'm working on right now. So to just look back on those experiences, they've helped me greatly, and they've turned me into the great man and the great chef that I am today.
Yeah, you are a great man. Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
So here's a Coach V quote as we close out. You have the last 45 seconds, okay? Success breeds success, but life struggle is the faculty of life that can teach us like no success can. That's a Coach V quote. Talking about the struggles, what it is that it taught you. Because people say, oh, yeah, you live and you learn. Yeah, right. But only success breeds success. But to go through that struggle, there's only one way to learn. Yeah. Right? And it's go through the grind. So you got about 30 seconds. Talk about that.
Going through the grind. You don't even know you went through it until you look back and you're like, man.
I do when I'm jogging. When I'm jogging, I know I'm going through the grind.
Well, I definitely know what you mean. I just bought a bike and I'm just, whew.
Right.
But yeah, but the kitchen struggle, it's almost one of those things like you just have to just love just being beat and saying, hey, I'm going to come back the next day and I'm going to do better. And that's kind of the mentality that all chefs have. And I can definitely talk about that a little bit later when we come back. But it's just a love-hate relationship, man, in the kitchen. And that's why I left, because I want to bring all the love back and diminish the hate.
Wait, are you talking about marriage, or are you talking about the kitchen? Are you talking about our passion projects, or are you talking about the kitchen? Are you talking about raising kids? Or are you talking about the kitchen? Are you talking about being in sales?
No,
or are we talking about being in the kitchen? Hey, that's just some hashtag real talk about life.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Absolutely. That love-hate relationship. But you're going to get up the very next day and get after it all over.
You have to.
Okay. In studio, with Island Block Radio's The Coach V Show's Rising Star. Keep it locked. We'll be back after this brief message break. You're listening to The Coach V Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Where iron sharpens iron. Together we rise on Island Block Radio, the pulse of the Pacific, where paradise lives. Welcome back to the Coach V Show on Island Block Radio, in studio, actually here at the Pacific Island Ethnic Art Museum with Aunt Franny in Strong Beach. We are here with the rising star, Mr. Mike Ford. Mike, talk to us about your passion project and what you are growing all over Southern California right now. Talk to us about what is Your Plate Mate.
So it's just not in Southern California, my friend. It's also in the entire state of California and wherever you would like me to be.
Oh, I like that. Elk Grove, 916, here we come.
All right. Just book me ahead of time and I'm there.
That's right, baby.
I'm there with a team. So this project that I worked on, I moved out here for a regional chef position.
Okay.
Opening up, I think I opened over 25 restaurants in that whole time being here. So it just made sense for me to be located here in California.
Okay.
I was going out to eat a lot, eating. And of course, traveling, like, being in a relationship, it has its strains. And it's to be honest, it's just really, really tough. So I would go out and eat alone. And I said, you know what, this can't be life. I'm having fun opening these restaurants, and I really don't remember them. It's kind of like a blur.
Yeah.
But at the end of the night, you're eating a meal. And so I said, it has to be something else. I said, what if I just took all of my experience over the years and just rolled them up? And I said, they say that things like this are supposed to propel you and push you to your dream and what your life destiny is supposed to be. So I thought about a couple things. I had a couple horrible names. Finally, I came up with the name Playmate. So, you're young, you have a playmate.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, that's not going to work. I mean, that's going to probably come off the wrong way.
Yeah, that's right. I agree. I concur.
To another audience.
A different audience.
Right. A totally different audience that I was seeking. So I said, hey, so wouldn't it be good to have a constant mate and share a plate? And originally it was going to be a dating app.
Yeah.
A dating app.
Okay.
I was just looking for any way to just get out of my current circumstance and go into something and do something that was totally controlled by myself and I had creative control over. So I just stuck with, cooking, because I definitely don't know anything about dating. So Your Plate Mate was born. Your Plate Mate was born. And I've been running with it since.
And what do you guys do with Your Plate Mate?
So Your Plate Mate, we bring the restaurant experience. So you have the whole vibe of, say, for instance, I came to your house.
Yep. Okay.
And the current caterers that I've worked with normally just set up.
That's right.
And they leave.
That's right.
And they make a little noise in the back. And maybe some of your things disappear when they leave.
The bad ones.
Right,
okay.
the bad ones, of course. Not all of them are bad. But Your Plate Mate, we take a different approach. We show up to your house. We set your table. We light candles. We put fresh flowers. We cook right in front of you. And if you want to come in the kitchen with us for a learning experience, we offer that service as well.
That's awesome.
Then you sit down and we cater to you as if we were waiters and waitresses. After that, we remove your plates, we clean the area, we wash the dishes, mop the floor, we take care of every single thing. So as if you went to a restaurant, you paid your check, you got up and left.
That is awesome.
Tell me about it.
And how's that? And how is that going? How is that going?
That's going very, very well. I just had the pleasure of this weekend, last Friday and Saturday, cooking for Juicy J, a member of 3-6 Mafia. So it was his wife's birthday, and we went and we performed those services for him, and absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. So I actually have a couple of gigs coming up this weekend and to do the same thing. So word of mouth is traveling so far. So it's traveling well so far, should I say. And I'm just excited about where we're going to go from this point on.
Okay, so you said you're all over California.
Correct.
But where can you provide the services right now? Where are you currently located? And then where do you see this going towards the future?
Well, where I see it now and in the future will kind of be synonymous. I see it where it is right now, but just on a larger scale.
Okay.
So more being myself, removing myself as one of the main chefs and predominantly being the teacher or the mentor of chefs to train them, to send them out to do the work. And I currently have a couple chefs under my belt right now, but the vision is and the goal is to create this on a larger scale throughout the country.
That's awesome.
Yes.
We would be in on that.
All right.
So Martha and I were in February, Valentine's Day.
Okay.
El Grove, book us now. Martha, sorry, I already made plans.
Checking
that's
my
how much I
schedule,
love you, because it's only October and I'm already planning Valentine's Day, February 14th. Right now, that's your man right there, baby.
Shout out.
Yeah. We're gonna do this with the executive chef, and you know what, too? Because you're gonna be so busy in your operations, you can't come do it for us. but that's okay. Don't feel like you need to come do the deal.
Coach B, hold on.
You
Let me
do the
stop you
mentoring.
there.
You be doing the mentoring, growing your deal.
No.
Just send us an awesome chef.
No, for all of you've done, I would personally show up for you, Coach
I
V.
appreciate you, man.
All right.
I appreciate you.
I'm
okay, tell me this. Okay, here's a Coach V quote. Cooking is like love. Let me put on my romantic voice real quick. Cooking is like love. It should be done with passion and everything else that would make it the best it could be. Okay, what do you think about that when I say that's how cooking should be? I mean, it's a love affair, right?
It is.
Taste, one of our senses, right?
Yes.
So there's the visual. I mean, and in scripture, I believe it's one of the great gifts of life is food, right?
If I can just ask you a quick question before you continue. Name another profession in this world where you use all 5 of your senses.
I don't. That's why I bring that up. It's like love.
It is.
Only when we make love do we use all of our other senses. Or am I doing it wrong?
That's not me, Mom.
I'm just saying. I mean,
right.
that is the intimacy, right, that I see food because, man, as long as I don't burn my barbecue, it turns out pretty good. I mean, and I don't overheat, so it's dry, right? Real talk, right?
Right.
But I mean, it's like when you plan it, when you prepare it, and then you just add the things. Like, my kids laugh because I call them jalapenos, right? But they're jalapenos, right?
Right.
I added jalapenos to almost everything I'm doing, and I add bacon to rice, right? It's like just some regular rice.
Better with bacon, man.
Everything,
saying,
right?
like.
So whatever it is that it takes, talk about that to enhance not only the palates but the experience. Is it not?
Yes, I would say whatever it takes, but since I'm in California and it's a lot of vegans out here, and I don't.
No, that's not real food. Hey, Coach V, I love V words, but vegan. I'm doing vegans. Yeah, I'm doing vegans. All right, I'm doing them a service by eating what eats their food.
Right, I thought you loved V words. Like that's why
I do. I'm just
there.
not a vegan. No, go ahead,
what
Mike.
about
I'm
vegetarian?
sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're totally fine.
Go ahead.
So in California, like the vegans and the vegetarians, I would say there are substitutes that would, like for instance, my mom's from Alabama, and in Alabama they cook with a lot of lard and in the olden days, rather, lard and bacon fat and which is lard and ingredients that we wouldn't typically use nowadays.
That's right.
But through the magic of science. We have Impossible meat. That
Burger King thing that's out right now, right?
That is out. It is out.
That's right.
And through a blind test, Coach V, I'm willing to put you through this. I don't think that you might know the difference.
Man, I'm in.
I'm in
on that challenge.
I'm
in on that challenge. And shout out to my Jack in the Box crew, though. I love y'all. I'm just gonna go try this because my boy, man. I love our brand because I coach the Jack in the Box crew. I love y'all, and I'm all about my ultimate cheeseburger. I'm just gonna go try it for executive chef
guys.
Mike Ford.
No disrespect.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is ways out here now that you can achieve your flavor profiles in a healthier manner.
Say that word again.
Flavor profiles.
Flavor profiles. What does that mean? I love that word.
Flavor profiles. That's more so of the profile of the flavor.
Okay.
But no, if I can break it down.
Break it down, yeah.
That's more. So it is a term that we use in the culinary business that basically means maximum flavor. It's kind of like the resume of flavors.
Yep.
For that particular dish.
Yep.
I think if I can leave it at that.
I love that.
Okay.
I love that. Because when I go for Vietnamese, there's a specific profile for that type of food, and what it is that I'm expecting, right? No,
yes.
Man, I love that. Okay. We are about done on this segment. Everybody keep it locked because we're going to talk more love, passion profiles, food profiles, flavor profiles in the next segment with your boy. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay tuned. It's going to get hotter on the Coach V Show, Island Block Radio. We are in studio, and our studio today is the Pacific Island Ethnic Art Museum with executive chef, my boy, Mr. Mike Ford. Mike, let's
What's up,
talk.
guys? What's up?
That was a great last 2 sessions. We were jamming, having a good time. We lost track of time until the boss made sure we knew the time management.
Right. I want to come back, so let's stay on track.
That's right. Okay. So what are the best lessons you've learned through this journey of this culinary life? You talked about preparation, right? Having everything in place. What was that?
Mise en place.
Mise en place. So what are 1 to 3 other major life lessons you're like, man, this is big for me that I've learned?
Wow. That's a heavy hitting question.
It's loaded. But
It is loaded.
Break down what you start to think about.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is just being ready. One of my buddies that I grew up with, he always gives me this pep talk of, if you stay ready, you never have to get ready.
Yeah, shout out Sugar Free. That's a Pomona term, just so you don't know. I'm from Pomona, boy. Shout out Sugar Free. Yeah, that's how you do it. Okay, go ahead.
I tried to put it in an exquisite way, but it's true. It's true. If you stay ready, you never have to get ready. So that just means being in the right frame of mind, preparing. In the earlier show you did, you guys were talking about preparation and making sure you have things on calendar. I mean, it works the same way for culinary arts. You need a syllabus, you need a plan. That is one of the big things that I've learned. If you don't have a plan, if you don't have a vision, you'll perish. The people will perish. So you have to have a plan. You have to have a vision. Those are 2 of the major things that I've taken from this experience. Number 3 is that for me, cooking is just a vessel. What I'm really trying to do is create emotional connections, and then we spoke about that earlier. But like you said, emotional connections are forever. The food is temporary. But if I can establish a relationship and a synergy and build that, then I know that the food and my business and the way that I live life, that'll continue on.
Yep. So emotion in terms of experience.
Correct.
Man, I'm all about freaking amazing experiences, man. I don't care if it's a restaurant. If it's not amazing, I'm probably not going to spend my money there.
Nope.
You know, whether it's a local moco, deal with rice, or like a Chinese restaurant, or where I go eat shrimp. I mean, I just love amazing, because why not? Why not have life be amazing?
I think that's one thing that we lost in the industry too. If I can briefly speak on that. Yeah,
please.
I think it's more so of it's just transactional now. It's not even a thing where it's I'm looking in the eye. How are you? It's like, what can I get you? And it's like, it's emotionless. It's like, it feels like that restaurant in Vegas, or the bar in Vegas, where it's just completely controlled by robotic arms. And I feel like that's where the industry's going. But we as a people, we can stop that. We can realize and gain that romance back. Why we actually got into the position that we're in now, or the restaurant industry, and we can change that. And that's one thing that I'm petitioning everywhere that I go. I try to, if I'm having a dining experience and it's not going well, I'll try to be that light, so that maybe that reflection from myself to the server, or myself to the chef, if it's Benihana's or whatever, like they'll see like, oh wow, this is the way that I'm supposed to behave. So I think we as a people in the industry, we can change that. We need to. So I'm calling you all out in the restaurants. We need to stand up. We need to make sure that we're delivering that guest experience at a high level at all times. And if you don't like a job, get out. Get out. Go. Don't ruin it for everybody else, guys.
# real talk.
Yeah, and don't bash my page for that. No, but it's the truth. We need to.
Yep,
it's just something we need to do.
Yep. I love that. Challenging the industry. It's your industry.
Yeah.
Right? And everybody's going to reflect either good or bad in it. I mean, because in America, man, we eat out like crazy.
Yes.
Right? The market share is out there. And guess what? The people that do it, they're going to gain more market share. And those that don't are going to lose it. Okay, when I say Executive Chef Mike Ford, what does living your best life mean to you? What does that mean?
Just all pistons firing. Living my best life first thing that comes to mind is just being at the top of my game. Just top of my game, meaning like all my ducks are in a row. Like I'm planning properly. I have the right people in the right places. It just means like everything's working for the good for me. And I believe that I'm at that level. And I always say I'm at that level because I'm speaking my future into my present. But I want to also say living my best life. I'm just like, you got me on that one. Living my best life. Wow.
As a one-on-one coach, a group coach, and a person that speaks in over 27 industries, I just feel that if we don't know what that best life is, then we get what life wants to give us.
True. That is true.
So right now, because in your profession and you don't have kids, your best life is about work, rightfully so. Because right now, that is your partner, your spouse, your passion, in your right. And then when you start to become, you get married and you have kids, then it's no longer about me. It's about the welfare, well-being of the people around me.
Right.
So now that I say that, so that can give you some context, let's start professionally. In your best life, you already started, right? Have your ducks in a row, know what you want to do, and firing on all cylinders. But for your soul, in terms of your fulfillment, not just your success and achievement, right? What does living your best life mean?
I've always had that answer inside, and pardon me for not disclosing it, but
it's all good.
As soon as you kind of elaborated on that, balance just popped in. Just balance. I need balance. Like if it's with the job, the relationship, my spirituality, the family time, like finance, like I just want to be balanced. Balance in all. And I know, like, I've heard it out there where you can't really achieve balance, but I don't believe that. I believe that the balance that you feel for yourself that makes you whole that's the balance that I want to achieve for myself.
No, that's a great point. So this is the number one life coaching question out there on the entire planet. Coach, how do I get more balance in my life? That's the number one question. In terms of there being a 50-50 split between work and family, there's no such thing. I mean, it's a 40-hour work week, 5 days, right? Yeah. You got to grind. There's no way around that. So the way it is that I explain balance to my one-on-one clients and all the industries I speak in is priority. You feel the sense of balance when you are prioritizing the things that you must to get things done. Therefore, you feel this level of balance. And I would only add to that what Albert Einstein says is life is like riding a bike. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. And so I'm always talking about keeping it moving, keeping it rolling, right? Yeah. Because that's the only time, because anytime that you're stagnant, you're not growing.
No, you're not.
And then so now there's an imbalance because you're not making any money. So now when I say that and you say, okay, so living my best life is having this balance, you got about 30 seconds to respond on that, and we're going to close out on the show.
Yeah, well, if I can refer back to the other segment, I was really impressed with your last interview that you did. For those that didn't see it or hear it, rather, I highly recommend that you check it out. But just as the young lady was saying about speaking about educating yourself, my mom was an educator for 40 years. Like, you have to keep moving, you have to keep learning.
That's right.
And in my industry, it holds so true. You have to keep bettering yourself and being the best, and that means studying the industry, becoming a SME, subject matter expert.
Oh, I like that. Okay. Yeah. So the number one aspect of a life coach that we teach, or a success coach that we teach, is happiness is found not in the feeling or in other people, but in your individual progress.
Yes.
That's when we feel like things are balanced, right? Is happiness. But that's the number one question, is balance. So, final words.
Final words. This is it?
For you.
I don't want this to be over.
We'll be back. We'll be back again. 2020, we'll be back again.
That's right around the corner.
Yeah, what are your final words about this experience being on Island Block Radio's The Coach V Show, about a couple tidbits real quick about, and then how do we, can we find you on these food apps? Can we find you on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook? Tell us what your handles are.
So currently, yes, I'm on Instagram, and we're expanding moving forward. But you can find me on Instagram at Your Plate Mate. I manage the page myself and a small team, so we're very personal. We can send us a message. We'll contact you right away. My number is on there. You can definitely find me. I'm very accessible. But to, just being on this show, this is what I think the world needs more of.
That.
We need to come together. We need to. I've reached out to some folks on Instagram, and they'll remain nameless, and just asking for help.
Yeah.
Or just, hey, love what you did there. Tell me a little bit about it. And radio silence. We need to come together. We all have our own specialties. Coach V, you do what you do, but honestly, like if someone came behind you, often copy, but never duplicate it. Don't be afraid to share. And that's one thing that I want to just put out there, and just appreciate you guys for helping me out and sharing this experience with me. So.
Oh, man, it is our pleasure. That's Executive Chef Mike Ford. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Please reach out to him or reach out to me if you need to get a hold of him. I know a lot of folks out there all over the country and all over California that if you need to get a hold of Executive Chef Mike Ford, please reach out to us. A rising star is a person that is growing quickly in a popularity, importance, and support in a particular field. Thank you to Island Block Radio's Coach V Show's rising star, Mr. Mike Ford, for coming in studio. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Mike, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, guys.
Island Block family wish you success, prosperity, joy, and more. Hashtag foodie moments with your boy, Viliami Tafok Tape Alava Tuiva. May everything you cook bring all your dreams, hopes, and aspirations to come true. This is the Coach V Show, and this is how we live. This success coach, keynote speaker, radio show host, and author lives. All about faith and family. Grateful for God's amazing grace. Tune in every Motivation Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to the Coach V Show, where iron sharpens iron. Together we rise on Island Block Radio, the pulse of the Pacific, where paradise lives.